Is smacking should it be completely banned in the UK? 0207 862 2222. UK's children's commissioners have united to call for a complete ban on smacking, and they say the current approach in England and Northern Ireland is outdated and morally repugnant. Smacking is outlawed in Scotland and Wales, but for England and Northern Ireland, parents can physically discipline their children if it is still reasonable, inverted commas. The commissioners say this permits assaults on children, and they want the law to be changed. Marvyn, do you agree?
Strongly, yes. I cannot explain how problematic it is to hit your children for any particular reason. Not only is it showing your children violence, but it's also hella confusing to your child to be like, you are my protector, my provider, the person I love more than anyone in the world, and then you turn around and you hit me because I do something wrong. And I think we can discern between when things are life-threatening and when this is just about behavioural and control. And children who are under 5 don't require control. They are literal, like discovering the world in real time. And children over 5 can comprehend and listen to your word. And the best thing is your children are a mirror of you. So if they are acting out and being in a particular way, that's a mirror of how you engage them. And that's the call for you to change how you engage with your children rather than smacking them. I hate it with my core and being, but I know it's a journey and I hope we're going to get there soon, because abusive parents use it as a platform to hit and not be investigated. And then that continues for too long, which is what has happened in this case with, is it Sarah Sharif?
Yeah.
Which is deeply devastating, knowing that she was under such horrible abuse for a long period of time. And her
But
parents
the guy
were able to cover it
who, her father, was a lawbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
He killed her. And therefore, that suggests that it doesn't matter what the law says, these people are going to do this anyway.
No, but absolutely. But then if she shows up with schools with signs of abuse, then you can investigate that straight away, and there is no law in place that clouds it. Right now, that law clouds it because he came back and said that he was putting in place reasonable punishment, which is the definition in the law, which is based on her doing something and him responding to that in isolation. But this is a campaign of abuse, and it's much easier to hide when there's a law with grey areas.
Dawn.
Yeah, interestingly, we mentioned that case because in Scotland, social workers and police have said that the no smacking ban is hindering them actually stopping cases like Sarah Sharif's. I mean, it's clogged up the system. And, you know, one police officer I was listening to being interviewed, he said, you imagine you've got a mum who's tapping her, not talking about hitting children or abusing children, who's tapping a child about to do something very dangerous on their arm just to stop them doing it very quickly. We're not talking about beating children here. And that police officer then said, well, OK, someone reports that because in theory, that is breaking the law. Do I then arrest that mum in front of her child, clog the system up? She then potentially gets a criminal record. She's kept away from her child. She's not allowed to talk to the family because she's not allowed to influence witnesses, etc., etc. And he says it is stopping the real cases of child abuse and people who are using, you know, sort of like, you know, Sarah Sharif's case from actually going through the court. They are not being found out because people are reporting simple taps on the leg.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, are they reporting taps as opposed to not striking,
No,
but
but this is the thing. I mean, but you're talking about a smacking ban. How do you define smacking? I mean, in theory, it could be a tap on the arm or the leg. If your child is about to, the old scenario of sticking their fingers in a plug socket, you slap their hand away.
Yeah.
In theory, that's a smacking ban.
Where you want to stop them doing something dangerous, like running across the road.
Every time I ask for example of something dangerous, it sounds like putting your finger in a socket, as much as a stereotype of like, yes, putting a metal fork or a metal object may elicit electricity, putting your finger doesn't, right? If you cannot stop your child from doing that, again, no, don't do that, no, you can't do that, and repeating it, that's what parenting is. That's what it takes to keep your children safe. But having permission to smack your child as a result of their actions is the laziest form of parenting. Repetition is unfortunately what it takes to teach them. It's nothing to do with smacking. They don't stop because it's smacking. They look at you and think, you're smacking me. How can you have affinity to someone that hits you? And if I can't, as an adult, do something that I can then do to a child, I think it's wrong.
What about Dawn's point that you create new crimes, and we know that the police can't really even do burglaries at the moment. They can't do the new crimes. So they stop investigating the more serious crimes.
That's not true. Fundamentally, aren't children worth that form of protection, that level of protection and investigating? And really what it is about building a understanding of what is happening in that house. There's only so many times you can sit there and say that as a matter of fact, like, okay, on this occasion, we observed that something was dangerous, you did that, it's a warning, please do not do that again. If that happens 3 times, then obviously there's more going on. But it's the foundation to go and investigate. Currently, that foundation is too high. And more is happening than is worthy.
Do call us 0208 762 2222. I almost forgot the number. That would be... that is the right number, isn't it? So 0207 862 2222. I don't know what to think about it. I would never hit my children. They're now 18 and 21. I feel the same as you in that I would have felt awful for years if I'd done it. However, if one of them decides that it's funny to scare me by running across the road every time we go outside our house, given that her life is on the line, I might have considered it. Judith in North Yorkshire, hello.
Hello, good morning.
What about this? We make a ban on smacking nationwide.
Absolutely. I don't know why it wasn't done years ago.
Well, I suppose, look, I was caned at school. The housemaster gave me 6 of the best with a long stick he kept in his study. He's a decent guy, and I deserved it. How about that?
Absolute rubbish. I was at school when caning was still allowed. And when people say, oh, but it teaches them a lesson, the same boys were lined up outside the head study every Friday. It doesn't. If I were to hit someone or smack someone or slap someone my own size, it would be a criminal assault. And I don't see why it shouldn't be 10 times more serious if it's done to someone much smaller and weaker than I am.
And did you, may I ask, if you've got your own children, Judith?
I have got my own children. My parents were born in the 1920s, so it's not a generational thing. My sister and I were never slapped. We were talked to. My children weren't. My grandchildren never have been.
And you never slapped yours?
No.
Never smack them? Yeah,
Never.
okay, no, I just want to check. Because sometimes people can lose control, and of course that's the danger, Dawn, isn't it? Someone just...
Well, this is the thing, but we're not talking about abuse cases. We're not talking... I mean, and obviously, we mentioned Sarah Sharif, and it does annoy me that we can conflate the two issues. I mean, Sarah was murdered by a hateful, sort of like, misogynistic... He actually hated that little girl. He was a psychopath. This is not the same as a worried parent tapping a child, behaving dangerously. You gave the example of your little girl running out into the road, tapping them on the arm to warn them. Now, I don't have children. I don't have experience of working with children like Marvyn does, and I fully respect that. But I have been a child, and I don't remember being slapped, but the threat was there. Mum and Dad did keep a cane in the cupboard.
Did they?
It was never used. It was. I think it was a gardening cane. Actually, it wasn't a proper cane.
Wow, but you were conscious that was there
I was
in
conscious
case...
that it was there, and it was the threat that kept my sister and I behaving kind of okay.
Gosh, a cane in the cupboard.
And the thing is, it's common. It's definitely common, and it's something that has been integrated deep into society. And sometimes when I listen to people talk about it, it's like they believe that they somehow deserved it, and I promise you didn't deserve it. Like, I
Okay.
promise.
I think I might have done occasionally, to be honest with you, Marvyn.
More calls after the break. Is it now your calls on banning smacking across the UK? Do we need to do it so that England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland all have the same policy? Let's talk to Terry in Kent. Terry, what about you? What do you think?
No, we shouldn't. Not be funny. Nowadays, kids know that if they do something wrong, they won't be punished. And I had a friend who told he shut his child in the bedroom because the child was playing up. 2 hours later, the police turned up to have to go at the parent because they said they'd beaten the child. And the same with schools. Schools nowadays, kids are going around beating up teachers because there's no discipline in school or anywhere nowadays.
Wasn't it like this in the 60s as well, though, Terry? Didn't we have people like mods and rockers fighting on Brighton Beach? And isn't it always been like this?
Yeah, but the thing is, in them days when I was at school, you never had kids beating up teachers and telling teachers what to do with themselves.
No, you're right.
Because they was caned. Nowadays, a kid does something wrong, he gets kicked out of school. And the kid says, oh, magic, I can go and play with my mates now because I don't have to go to school.
So what about the idea then of just saying that you can occasionally hit your child? Do you think that's good?
You light slap. When I was young, I got slapped from my dad once, and I never done it again. When my mum raised her voice, I ran a mile. Exactly the same as at school. When I was at school, I got caned once. I never done it again. But
I didn't do my thing again either. Robin is there in Gloucestershire. You disagree with Terry. Robin, tell Terry why.
Well, I think if it's okay to smack a small defenceless person, why is it not okay for an adult to hit another adult?
Terry?
What it means, you're teaching a child to what the rules and regulations are, exactly respect. You know, nowadays, kids ain't got respect for nothing.
Go, Robin.
No, respect. You're not talking respect here. You're talking fear. And what you're doing is shaming a child. And it's proven that actually it delays a child's development. If you buy into abuse, well, that's what you're doing. You're buying into abuse.
But you don't see it as abuse, Terry, do you?
No, it's never done.
Hang on, Robin.
Well, it never done no harm to them, did it?
Never done no harm, Robin.
No harm. I don't go round robbing people. I've got respect for the elderly.
How about that, Robin? Because Terry was slapped occasionally as a child, he's now a more peaceful adult.
Oh, he sounds terribly tranquil. I think what I'm still, I'm 81. I'm angry. I'm still angry 70 years on at a horrible prep school when a child spoke after lights out boarding school. And we asked him what happened. He lifted his shirt. He's 8 years old and his bottom was green and blue wheels. And that was okay then.
Yeah, but that is a strange one, Dawn, isn't it?
Well, of course it is, but we're not talking about that level of abuse. This will apply to a mum stopping her child doing something very dangerous by a simple tap on the hand or on the leg. We're not conflating. We're conflating that with actual proper violence and beating.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Terry. Percy in Derbyshire. Percy, we haven't had a Percy for ages. Hello.
I'm not showing. Hello, mate. You all right?
All right, yeah. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm just on about this smacking. It never hurt me when I was a kid.
How many times do you smack, Percy?
How many?
How many?
I can't hear you, mate. Hello?
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 How many times were you smacked as a child?
Well, just depends what I did. Local Bob used it, you know. There's no respect nowadays in this world, mate. No respect whatsoever.
No. Thank you, Percy, so much. It's got the echo. Julie in Warwickshire. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine.
I was trying to think. I never mind being called mate, but when someone says no respect in the world, mate, I'm thinking like, should I argue with that? I don't. What do you think, Julie?
I disagree in smacking children, 100%.
Okay. Did you get smacked yourself as a girl?
I was beaten by my mother.
Okay. Well, no one is arguing for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to look at my child life and I used to say, if I had children of my own, I would never hit them. You can punish children other ways.
Yep.
If they've got a favourite food, you ban it from them for a month. If you're going down to the seaside and you've got 3 siblings, you take the 2 and you leave the other one with the grandparents.
Locked upstairs.
That is going to hurt more.
Well, I mean, that sounds quite severe to me, in fairness. Tell me about your mum, though. That sounds awful. What was going on with her?
We don't know. I was taken away from my mum.
Okay. Oh, well, you've suffered. You've suffered. But so you never hit your own children, obviously, Julie?
Never, ever. I've never had no children.
Oh, you didn't have any? Okay.
No. My sisters have had children, and one of them used to beat her child up.
Oh, but then she's learnt it from your mum.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it all boiled down because I bought my little nephew a plastic golf set that he liked playing golf.
Right.
And the golf ball hit her telly screen, didn't crack it or anything, and she sent him to bed, and because he was playing up, because he wanted to be downstairs, she ran up there with the golf stick and literally beat him.
Oh, man. This is her beating up her own son?
Yeah, he was 3 years old as well.
Well, this has jumped the shark, this one, hasn't it?
Wow.
Well, Julie, I'm sorry, that's a violent household there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling. Michael in Clackmannanshire, hi.
Hi, Jeremy. Hi, how are you?
I don't know if you can follow that. That was amazing.
Yeah, we've got a similar situation here with our oldest daughter, 6 years old.
Yeah.
Is that if she does something wrong and all that, and we go down and we tell her, you know, and all that, she's done it wrong and all that, she actually lashes out with violence.
Oh, I see. Right? She's hitting you, right?
Yeah. And I've often thought back to the days when I was a child that if I did that to my parents, I would have got a smack across the bum. You know, and I would have been like, oh, wait a minute, I better not do that again after a couple of
because you're in Scotland, you can't do that.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And
well, that's on Dawn's side of the argument, Dawn, isn't it?
Yeah, do you think it's working in Scotland, Michael, the smacking ban, or do you think it is stopping proper cases of child abuse being discovered?
I think it's a hindrance to both parents and the police. Because if you look at it this way, I've seen kids that have grown up with the smacking ban, right? And they're out till like about 10 o'clock. They're verbally abusive to everybody, right, that we want to be. And you go to their parents and tell them, and their parents are like, well, what can I do?
OK, Michael, thank you so much. Thanks for all your calls. Later